ballistics and caliber choice. Today on Sort of Tactical. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I've been thinking a lot about like new calibers and things like that. I currently shoot .223, 6.5 Grendel, 308, and 9mm. And that's it. And I've been looking for some more advantage. What else do I want? I'm feeling the urge to buy another gun. That's what that translates to. And I know you've all been through it. And I want data. I like data. I like information. What am I going to be using it for? How is it going to be used? Things like that. I've got the Ruger American Predator right here. Just happens to be here, but in 308, I've got a Palmetto State Armory 6.5 Grendel upper, and I love those. I love those guns. And then a lot of you, if you've seen my videos, I've got my Roscoe manufacturing barrel with some other stuff. It's a hodgepodge gun. Franken gun, I think is the term, but 12.5 inch AR 5.56, and I love all that. But I want more. I want more guns. I want more calibers. I want more reloading. I love reloading, and so I want to say, okay, what is the dilemma here? What do I need? And I still want a short-barreled rifle. I love this is an 18-inch rifle in 308. Absolutely love it. I'm getting great ballistics out of it. But 6.5 Creedmoor is appealing to me a little bit as far as a lightweight, long-range gun, short barrel. The Sig Cross in 6.5 Creedmoor with an 18-inch barrel is really appealing. And so I started looking at ballistics. I'm like, okay, what can this rifle accomplish? And for me, that's important. What can I do with this rifle? Because I do like catch-all rifles. This 308 is pretty much a catch-all rifle, but I want better ballistics. This is really hard to get 1,000-yard and beyond hits. Really hard. Wind just kills this gun. And so I bought the Grendel. I like the Grendel. To me, it didn't live up to exactly what I expected because I don't think I set the proper expectations. And so what I did, I've got a chart here. I'll pull it over in a second here, but I said, okay, what are the calibers that I have? What are the calibers that I want? And going forward, how will these calibers perform, and what role can they fill? And so I charted some stuff out. This is not an all-inclusive list, of course. I think you can see all those, but if not, I'll move it. These are using standard atmospherics, 29.92 inches of mercury, 59 degrees, 50% humidity. I did change that. I think standard is 74. I'm at 6,000 feet in a high desert. I'm not getting 74% humidity. I'm getting 50 on a really nasty day. It makes my hair curl on those days. And then I changed the sea level, or my elevation above sea level to 8,500. Typically, if it's an 80-degree day and the atmospherics are kind of normal here at 25 to 30% humidity, my density altitude is like 12 to 13,000 feet. On really hot days, it shoots way up. And anyways, so you'll recognize some of this stuff here. I did a 75 ELD match, 75 grain ELD match at 2,850 feet per second, like from an SPR type AR build. And so it's 5.56. Energy is 1352. I did drops at 300, 700, and 1,000. So we'll just do the 300 for now, 12 inches a drop. 108 ELD match at 2,700 feet per second, 6mm arc. And this was data I was getting out of people's 20-inch barrels. So 2,700 feet per second, 1,748 foot-pounds of energy, pounces on the 5.56, 13 inches a drop at 300. 123 ELD match at 2,500 feet per second. That is about what I get. It's a little bit slower than what I get. I get 2,550-ish on a warm day. On a cold day, I get 2,500. That's actually a little faster than most people are getting out of an 18-inch barrel, but that's what I get, so I used it. 1,707 foot-pounds of energy with 16.5 inches of drop. So we're getting a lot more drop now. And, excuse me, let me add, I use the exact same ballistics calculator for all of these. I use Hornadays forward off systems for all of this because I wanted everything to be consistent. Excuse me. I did a 140 grain ELD match at 2,750 to simulate a 6.5 Creedmoor. That is not a fast-moving bullet out of a Creedmoor. You could probably get 2,800 feet per second pretty easily. This is a moderate load. None of these are super hot loads. 2,350 foot-pounds of energy, 12 inches of drop, so we've dropped back down to the foot mark at 300. A 178 ELD match at 2,625 feet per second, and I can hear my dryer just bouncing off the rails in the background upstairs. But anyways, 2,625 feet per second, 2,723 foot-pounds. So we're really jumped up in the foot-pounds here. 14 inches of drop at 300. And then the 147 ELD match at 3,000 feet per second. That is a 6.5 PRC. I don't have one. That's the data I've been getting on forums. Some guys are getting that out of like a 20 or 22 inch barrel. You don't need like a 26 inch barrel. So that's really appealing to me. 2,937 foot-pounds of energy. 9 inches of drop at 300. That's phenomenal. And so these are the calibers I'm looking at. I love 223. I love 308. Probably never be without one again. I'm intrigued by the 6mm arc. I'm intrigued by a Creedmoor. If I did do the short barrel, you know, and just kind of information, because I put it out, I want an 18-inch barreled Creedmoor. I'm not going to get 2750 with 140 grain. I'm going to get pretty close to that, though. Probably 100 feet per second less, according to people's load data that I can find online. But if I use the 130 to 135 grains from Burger, things like that, it's going to crush it. But anyways, and so this is the data I'm using. At 700 yards, 223 drops to 128 inches. The 6mm arc drops to 136 inches. The Grendel drops to 177 inches. The 6.5 Creedmoor 120 inches. Best one so far. The 308 146 inches. Second worst one so far, behind the Grendel. I'm not happy about that. But anyways, 95 inches out of the PRC. By far the best one. Then we go to 1,000. The 223 gets me 360 inches of drop. That ain't bad. 362 inches of drop out of the 6mm arc. And I gotta say, that's not what I expected to see. I expected the 223 to be worse, by far. However, I've got a chart for wind calls that'll change your mind on that one. So drop is easy to predict. It's gravity doesn't change. Wind does. So keep that in mind. My Grendel, my beloved lowly Grendel, 500 inches of drop. Not what I expected, but it makes sense. You know, it matches up pretty dang close with my data. Like I said, I do shoot 2550 instead of 2500 as listed below, but that's a lot of drop. The Creedmoor, 308, best one so far. Then the 308 at 397, not awesome. But then you jump it down here to the PRC at 239 inches of drop at 1,000 yards. Like, so that's phenomenal. That's good results. And so I'm going to switch it out for the wind chart that I made for these. Using the exact same data. I wrote the data down before I switched to a new caliber. That way we had consistent readings on the Hornady 4DOS system. And so let me switch those out for you real quick. Alright, so I don't think it's any surprise that 6.5s and 6mm have really good wind beating characteristics. That shouldn't be a surprise if you shoot. What surprised me is my Grendel, when compared to all of these, was dead last. I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. I also am not shooting it that far that often. I do get good hits out to 1,200 with that thing. I've done it in a 20-mile-an-hour crosswind. It's just learning the wind where you are, figuring out what your ballistics are, and doing all that. But when I want something that I can have a little bit of room for error, my Grendel is not it. It gets dead last. And so my Grendel 123 grain at, and I'm just going to go straight up to the 1,000-yard mark, has 122 inches of drift in a 10-mile-an-hour crosswind. All right. Followed closely by the 5.56 75 grain with 101 inches of drift, and then the 308 with 92 inches of drift. That one was pretty predictable. I shoot 308 a lot. I've shot thousands and thousands. I've burnt out 2 other 308s. I'm now on this Ruger, and I'm already looking to replace the barrel fairly soon. Probably a new caliber though, and then buying a new 308 rifle, because that's what we do. And then the arc. Remember I told you that the drop was super comparable to the 75 grain 223, but the arc, you know, you bring it over 2 spaces, 85 inches of wind at 1,000 in a 10-mile-an-hour crosswind. That's great. Then the Creedmoor at 64 inches, and then the PRC at 49 inches. And so, again, this is the kind of data. Look this stuff up before you make a caliber choice, before you say, I want this gun. Well, maybe it's not doing what you wanted it to do. I had these visions of grandeur coming up when I was buying the Grendel. I'd actually bought all the stuff for a Grendel before, like 2-3 years ago, sold it, and now I'm back on it. I still love it, but I think for me, yes, I can make 1,000-yard shots, but for me, if I were to reassess this, I would probably go, if it was an AR platform, I would probably go ahead and switch to a 6mm arc. If it was a bolt platform, Creedmoor, PRC, something like that, 6mm Creedmoor, something like that, which I am looking at doing for a competition gun. That might be what I actually do for the Ruger. But anyways, know what your parameters are. What do you want out of a gun? Is it for hunting? How much energy do I need to deliver? At what distance? And then I got to match up the bullet too. That's a whole nother discussion. Is the windage good enough to where if I shoot this and there's a 5-mile-an-hour crosswind that I don't expect at 300 yards, am I going to completely miss my target? I would tell you with the PRC, the Creedmoor, and the ARC, probably not. Maybe not even the 308, but the other two you probably will if you don't expect it. And 5 miles an hour might be a little slow, but you can usually compensate for that by just kind of moving over a hair. But anyways, I digress. Know what your requirements are, know what you expect out of your gun, then shop for a caliber. Don't say, man, this 6.5 is really taking off, I better check into it. Okay, hold on a second. How far do you want to shoot it? If it's for paper, great. But if you're trying to deliver energy on an animal, maybe look at a PRC, maybe look at a 300 Win Mag, maybe look at a 270, you know, something like that. Look for what your expectation is on said type of target, game animal, target, steel, things like that, and know what those parameters are before you shop for a cartridge. I did the opposite through years of trying to learn how to shoot and reload, and I was just like 308s, that's it. That was the long range cartridge for such a long time. So yeah, I've been shooting for a little while, but that's the cartridge coming up. And then 6.5 came out, and I fell in the line with, I don't need that, I got my 308. I could have benefited from it. Past 300, 400, 500 yards, 6.5 Creedmoor kicks 308's butt all day long in every category. I don't care what you do. If you run the numbers and you take that bias out of your head, it's going to kick its butt. 6.5 PRC kicks everything else's butt that's listed here. And so, again, last time, look at your parameters. What do you need? What do you want it to do? Find your caliber and rock on. And so with that, just a food for thought, looking for a new caliber, you know, do your homework. And so with that, stay tactical.